This edition of Denami's video blog was brought to you by the number 8, because 8 is great. I've had one intensely busy week. My whole life. That's it. Just one. It wasn't this week or anything. No, it was another week. One of the previous weeks. Before this week. Not this week. Actually, I'm wrong. I've had multiple busy weeks. What I said was a saying, an expression, that meant that the previous week was an incredibly busy week.
Hey, guess what? This is my theme song.
By the time you see this, it'll be Friday, August 20th, which happens to be the day of my birthday. But right now, as I'm speaking, it is Thursday, August 29th. I'm sorry, August 19th. That was a misstatement. I have a class on Monday morning, so we get there at 7 a.m. and stay there until 10 p.m. So it's a long day. That's the norm for Mondays. So that happened this past Monday. On Tuesday, I had a gig. It was at the Ritz-Carlton in Dana Point. If you're unfamiliar with the Ritz-Carlton, it is an extremely upper-class hotel, and it has its own private beach that is only accessible to guests of the hotel. For anyone who is familiar with the geography of Southern California, I live in Victorville. I go to school in Santa Monica, and the gig is in Dana Point. If you're unfamiliar with the geography of Southern California, go to MapQuest. Look that up. That way you can see just about how much driving I've had to do over the past couple of days. Monday, I went from Victorville to Santa Monica all day and then back to Victorville. Tuesday, I went from Victorville to Dana Point for the gig. Rather than going back to Victorville from Dana Point, I went straight to Santa Monica, slept in my car Tuesday night for class Wednesday morning. And then after class, I went back to Victorville. And then today, Thursday, I've come from Victorville back to Dana Point for the rest of the gig at the Ritz-Carlton. And then when this is done, I have to go back to Victorville. For any of you who haven't had to drive as much as I'm describing, let me just try to express my frustration by shaking the camera. Did you get it? I hope that got my point across. See, you thought all I drank was ices with red vines, but actually, I don't. You want to know the funny thing about things that I say? They're not that funny. You know what today is? It's a day. And it happens to be a day that ends in Y. So for all of you who say those things like, I only do this on days that end in Y, well, guess what? Today is one of those days. As for me, I only do things on days that end in IE. So I don't got to worry about it today. That makes sense, right? Right? I talked about things. I often talk about things. Am I still talking about things? That's amazing. In case you don't know what I'm talking about, you probably don't, because rambling is a thing that happens when things ramble. And by things, I mean people, and by people, I mean me. Do you ever get the feeling that you're living inside of a box? If you get that joke, then clap your hands. Not that I would know if you clapped your hands, because I cannot see you. So do you guys remember a while back I talked about the short story that I wrote, and I wanted to find a place to post it? Well, I had a lot of suggestions. Somebody suggested that I read it to you, that I have a reading. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not going to do that because I feel like I would be critical of my own work. And rather than reading it to you, I would just make fun of it. So instead, I have made myself a Fiction Press page. There's a link in the place where links generally are to my Fiction Press page, where you can read not only the short story, The Amulet, that I was talking about in a previous video, but you can also read the short story, Long Live the King, that I read in my last video. And I'll probably keep writing short stories and post them up on this Fiction Press site. A few people said that they would read it if I posted it somewhere. So I posted it just for you. Now, if you don't read it, then you've made liars out of all of us. Mean people suck. Nice people swallow. That was in poor taste. I'm probably going to edit that out.
It's time for another Was That Really Necessary?
This past weekend, Comedy Central had a roast of David Hasselhoff. Was that really necessary? I mean, come on. He's a walking roast of himself. This is Denami, reminding you that if you're going to pick a number between 1 and 10, and you'd like that number to be greater than 7, 8 is great. Oh, also, one last thing. The jump cut contest is still going on. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, too bad for you. You're not going to get to know. No, I'm kidding. Could you imagine if I was like that? That wouldn't be fair, would it? I don't think so. There's a link in the place where links generally are. Man, there's a lot of links in this video to a previous video where I announced a jump cut competition that I'm holding. I'm gonna keep it running until the 1st of the month, September, until September 1st. So so I'll keep accepting. So make a video. So do something. Am I still talking? Who am I asking? The camera can't respond. Jump cut.
The unexpected jump cut.
Wish I wouldn't have paid for a plane ticket. I could have traveled by jump cut. Uh-oh.
Help me! I accidentally jump cut into my refrigerator.
But I can control his jump cut. Watch.
Jump cut!
Hey!
Don't do that! Jump cut! Finally he's gone. He is such a pain in the ass.
I'm not. Still right here. Jump cut. Looks like this is my camera now. Obama, 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 Obama.
Where the hell am I?
This edition of Denami's video blog was brought to you by the number 8, because 8 is great.